Welcome to CSL Leesburg. Our theme for this year is Living Out Loud. And for the month of July, our theme is Speaking Truth to Circumstances. The title of our talk today is Standing on Shiva, and it will be given by our wonderful spiritual director, Charlene Banks. We are so glad that you joined us here today, that you took a little time out of your day to join this community. We hope that you feel welcome, and we want you to know that if you have any prayer requests or celebrations, feel free to put them in the chat, and we will include them later in our service when we do our affirmative prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment. So for now, we're going to kick off our official welcoming video. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Leesburg. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is. And so it is. And now it's time for our meditation. So this is an oldie but goodie. It's one of my favorites. And I think it's something that I like to do once a month. So join me with the loving kindness meditation. So first of all, just get comfortable, relax. Release any tension that you might have in your body and your shoulders. Is a place where we frequently carry that tension and stress. Maybe roll your neck a little. And take a deep breath in and out. And in and out. Oh, it's so good. It's like hitting the pause button in our busy, busy lives. Now I'm going to start by saying 4 phrases, and I want you just to repeat after me and really think about the words as you say them. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. Now I want you to think of someone in your life, someone special, and you think at this time they need to get this message. You know that we're always connected. It could be somebody in the room with you, or it could be somebody that is separated from you by some distance. We're going to say the same phrases. We're just going to change them a tiny bit. Again, repeat after me. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. Now we're going to do this a third time. And I want you to think of somebody that maybe is causing you a little stress. There's a little tension, an uncomfortable situation, and someone where you do not have peace when you associate with this person or around this person. But we're going to bless them, right? That's important that we include them. Picture that person in your mind. And again, we're going to say those 4 phrases. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. Bless ourselves, we blessed a loved one, we blessed one person that is maybe causing us a little stress. Now let's send that same message, those same 4 phrases out to everyone, all beings. Again, repeat after me. May they be filled with loving kindness. May they be well. May they be peaceful and at ease. May they be happy. Doesn't that feel good? I love those 4 phrases. All right, we have some wonderful music and we have a wonderful message waiting for you today. So gradually come back to us. Wiggle your toes, your fingers, shake those shoulders, and get ready for some music from Soul Pajamas.
Oh, that thing wiggles around. This is to my mind, the most beautiful song about compassion I think I've ever heard. It's by a couple of really talented songwriters, Tom Prasado Rao and Tom Kimmel. If I met you on the corner, would I know you as you are? Would I take you for a stranger and brush past you in the door? If you called me, would I hear you? Or would I walk away too soon. If I linger for a moment, would I see myself in you? If I fought you as a soldier, if I had you in my sights, would you ask me to remember who imagined I was right? If you witnessed my surrender, do I know what I would do? If you held me like my brother, would I see myself in you? Well, I dreamed my end was near. I was almost gone. If I dream my dream from here, can I still come home? If you called me, would I hear you, or would I walk away too soon? If you held me like my lover, would I see myself in you? If you held me like my mother, would I see myself in you?
That was amazing. Thank you. It was so, that melody, Aaron, your voice, and Dan, the guitar, just very nicely done. So that puts us in a nice space. Tamara, you know, the loving kindness meditation never fails. It's always the best, because I remember each time I do it, I remember to have that loving compassion for myself. And we find that it's easier sometimes to give it to others. But then, since we're so intimate with ourselves, we know all of our foibles. It could be hard to just accept those things and love ourselves anyway. And that's the trick. In fact, every time I sit at this desk and discuss things with you here on Sunday, every time we sign up for a class or we speak with our friends about spiritual things, it always comes down to accepting where we are and loving ourselves right where we are, and knowing that this is on purpose. We are here on purpose, for a purpose, even if we haven't discovered that purpose yet. It's not too late. If we're still here, we have a purpose. So today's talk title is Standing on Shiva. Sounds good. What's Shiva, you might ask? Well, I'm so glad you asked. You see, in the Hindu tradition, there are thousands, some say millions, of gods, where each god is a deity that embodies a certain quality of humanity. They're archetypes, as Carl Jung would call it. And there are some people, I know I grew up Catholic. I'm not sure about you, but I did. And I remember very early on that we were told to eschew the heathen traditions because they worshiped idols. And then they would trot out a statue of Mary and a statue of Jesus and a statue of this, and then the cross with this Christopher and the thing. And I'm like, excuse me, I have a question. How is this different? And they told me some story, and I'm sure I believed it, that it was different. It's not different. First of all, it's not a terrible thing to take aspects and qualities of something divine and embody it with a name and some attributes, because then we personify that. We could talk about the attributes of Saint Christopher, who, I don't know, I think it's how you find lost items. I don't even remember all the things that they taught us, but that we could take the embodiment of some being, whether it's Jesus who really existed and the saints who probably existed, or definitely these gods and goddesses who some say exist in this moment. We can take these embodiments, these archetypes, these representations of qualities that we want or that we desire to have. Something, some metaphor, some myth surrounds this being, and then we can connect with that being and bring it into our lives and have it change the way we move through the world. So yes, in the Hindu tradition, there are thousands, if not millions, of gods and goddesses. Now, when I was studying all through the years in ministerial school, I found this tradition, the Hindu tradition of gods and goddesses, to be the most egalitarian. They did not throw away the feminine. The divine feminine was equal in the creation and the sustenance of the entire universe, just as the male. When other traditions tended to toss away the feminine and the goddesses were meh, in the Hindu tradition, they're powerful, because from this feminine energy, all things have put forth. In fact, look at us, physical feminine. This is how life comes through. Am I right? I mean, it's how it works. And so if you look at the earth, the actual planting of a seed, that is the womb of Mother Earth, and comes forth the feminine produces and it creates and manifests throughout life. And so I love that the title of this talk is Standing on Shiva, and it goes to this story. So I'll give you a short story about this huge mythology story about the divine and the divinities that are Hindu. So in Hinduism, we have Durga and Kali. These are two feminine goddesses that are forms of Shakti, which is the big, overarching, all feminine energy. Shakti, all feminine goddess energy, emerges from Shakti. Shiva is the male side of that. So if you had the yin and yang symbol, which we always go back to, one of those sides would be called Shakti and the other one would be called Shiva. And together they're co-creating the entire existence. So if you're with me so far, let's see what went wrong, because something went terribly wrong. So it turns out there was a big old fight. Now, Durga, one of the aspects of Shakti, was created to fight in this big old fight. And all the other gods were unable to defeat this. It's called Mahishasura, but anyway, it's a buffalo demon. He was hard to beat. So Durga was created to fight that demon. And then, even though the gods combined their powers and created this female deity, Durga, to fight this beast, it's also known, you might have heard Durga known as Devi or Divine Mother. She was empowered. They got together and gave Durga all their powers. They said, go get him. And so she rode in on a lion, and she had many arms, Durga did. She carried a weapon in each of those arms, and then she did a good job liberating the heavens and earth from the menace. But what happened is Kali came forth. Kali was the actual doer of the deed. It's told that from the forehead, now just imagine, here's Durga riding on a lion. out of her forehead comes this Kali being who is defined as having dark skin, black skin, wearing this necklace of demon heads. It's really quite terrifying. And then she's got her tongue lolling out as she goes through and does the deed. So how Durga defeated them was through this Kali figure. Now, Kali, known as the destroyer, and she came through, and one of the tricks of the buffalo beast was that if you like sliced him, then his insides would fall to the ground, and then those would become seeds, and that would create more of him. So the more you tried to kill him, the more clones popped out of the earth. This is kind of terrifying if you think about it. Don't tell your kids these stories at night. But Kali said, I got you. I know what I can do, because she's got this tongue that's lolling around. She says, I'm going to get him, and then I'm going to slurp up all of his insides so that they don't hit the ground. And therefore, the seeds aren't planted, and therefore, no little clones. Kali says, I got you. Now, the problem with this energy, the problem with this whole experience, the whole thing, the story goes like this. Kali won. So she's dancing around with her tongue lolling. And as she stomps, she's still destroying things. This time, though, she's doing it because she's happy, but she's kind of lost in a frenzy, kind of flying out of control like a balloon that you just let go of. And so Shiva, her divine other half, the other side of the yin yang symbol, Shiva, slid himself under her feet so that instead of hitting the earth directly, she hit his sturdy beingness. And then she woke up and she said, oh, that's my husband. Oh, that's right. Okay. So she remembered herself, and then she calmed down, and then everything was fine. Apparently they were all fine. Everybody went home for dinner. I don't know. The point of the story, though, is this, that when we unleash our definitely feminine energy, when we come in, at first it's compassion. It could be compassion until it's not. And then when we go about, maybe think about this from a political standpoint. If you want political action and you see something is wrong, you could come in there with that Kali energy and slay the negative thoughts, the negative ideas. You could actually put into place things that make the problem go away, but without realizing it, we could become the thing we despise if we don't stop, take a moment, set our feet on what's true about ourselves, remind ourselves of that we're one with the divine, remind ourselves who we are. I'm sure you can think about times when you went angrily against something and then realized that our anger is causing more of that something. It's what Martin Luther King realized. He said, well, I could probably fight all this injustice with violence, but perhaps I can try it another way. Perhaps I don't have to become the thing I despise in order to get them to pay attention. So they came up with many well-threaded needles of resistance, peaceful resistance. It was a hot mess for a while until it wasn't. So we're looking at thoughts about, yes, there sometimes is some evil, so-called evil in the world, things that we don't want, and things that we can't just sit on the sidelines and watch happen. We can't just sit there and watch the world burn. What can we do about climate change? We can't just sit there and watch women get all their power taken away. What can we do about it? But in that idea about bringing forth our compassion, which is Durga, we were given all these tools. We've got all of these arms with all these types of weapons. Do we really want to send forth the most destructive part of ourselves to go handle it all without any balance? Do we want to? And these are just questions that I have for you, because this story is a rich backdrop. We can use all the pieces of the story to help us remember who we are in spirit and remember that we're one with everything. In fact, in the Science of Mind and on page 112, I feel like I'm quoting the Bible. On page 112, paragraph 4, it says, the whole of spirit is potentially focused on our individual objective consciousness, but we have not yet evolved to the realization of this, except to some in a slight degree. We're slowly waking up, is what Ernest is saying. And so we want to make sure that as we wake up, we realize that we're one with the divine and that there is nothing to fight, so to speak. Because when we fight it from the level of the problem, then we remain in the problem. Example, let's say you're in an argument with someone, and it's an ideological argument. They think A about the world, and you think B about the world. Without either side taking a compassionate stance, all they're doing is yelling at each other. I've been in these conversations. I've walked away not feeling any better. I just felt more agitated. Where I said something and they said something else. And I said, but did you think about this? And they said, no, you're not thinking about it right. And we both are yelling, and not yelling, but just holding on to our positions and digging our heels in. Neither side was heard. Now, as I go back in my mind, I'm thinking, I could have handled that a little better. And in my mind now, I'm thinking, I don't know about you. Do you go back over arguments or discussions you've had with people and wonder where you went wrong? For me, it's usually, I could have listened more, and I could have taken away my desire to change their position. If someone is hell-bent on just not liking their life right now, or complaining about a few things when everything else is fine, we can listen, but we can't argue. Just hold that space for them, and then make a suggestion, and then find a way out, depending on how invested you are in that relationship. Because it's not, I want to say, productive to keep on going, keep on fighting something with the energy that they came into it with. So let's go back now. Let's talk about feminine energy and compassion. And let's talk about how that relates with the masculine energy. Let's talk about attributes that are not really embraced by our society right now as much. The attributes of nurturing, empathy, collaboration, and listening to one another. These are often associated with feminine energy. And so when corporations decide to go in a certain direction with their products, they could, if you think about this, think about a company that is getting so big so fast that all they want to do is keep continuing to make a profit, even when it's evident that things are suffering. Perhaps people are getting addicted to the product, or maybe it's causing more carbon emissions. And I'm not thinking about a particular company in general, just in general. Think about that kind of company, and chances are that it's typically male dominated. No offense to the men, but there's masculine energy running that kind of scenario. So it may have started out in an egalitarian way. It may have started out in a compassionate way, but over time, unchecked power that tends to keep going could become destructive. And so this is when there's a balance needed. And usually what works is, if you take a high-level company in the boardroom, you should add, speaking to the choir here, adding feminine energy into that room so that things are balanced and you have more compassion. Adding, if it's egalitarian that we want, adding people of color into the room so that they can have a balanced approach. Balance is what we're going for, because when things are out of balance, everybody suffers. So we want to be patient with this, and we want to just realize where we are. This Hindu story has these elements too of this gift that all of the gods got together, and they sent forth Durga on the lion with all the arms, those gifts are what we are inherently born with. So if you think about all of the gifts that we speak about here at Science of Mind, at the teaching, we know that we have 10 principles, and we have principles like oneness, love, creation. We're all spiritual beings. We have spiritual laws that govern all. We have heaven on earth and so forth. All of these could be the tools that we have, that the gods have given to Durga riding on her lion. These could be the things she's wielding, if you go with me with this analogy. Now, when she first came onto the field and she's trying to get the beast, the problem is as she cuts into the beast, the stuff spills from his body, and then more, as soon as that stuff hits the ground, more clones pop up. And this is an example of, you could be fighting something, but if you're not at a higher level, all it does is create more seeds. All it does is, have you ever been in a group of people who are complaining? Have you? They're complaining about something, and that something is probably real. But when that happens, typically nobody feels better. It just plants more seeds of worry. You hang up the phone with the person who worries a lot, and now you're worried more. You see what I'm saying? It's that situation where you have to be careful when we go into something. If we don't hit it from a higher level, if we don't bring forth the Kali, perhaps, that's going to take those seeds before they germinate and grab them. Do something with those. Don't let those seeds land in fertile soil, because then you're just going to have more problems. And of course, we can come up with analogies. Let's say your friend calls you and they're complaining, and you want to be compassionate. And maybe if this is a persistent problem, you can direct them to a professional that can help them with love. But what we shouldn't do is just allow this to just spill into our lives. And now we hang up, and now we're worried about more things than we even knew. They just brought you more things to worry about. So how would that be if we brought forth Kali? Now, I'm not sure in my scenario how that would work, because in the story, Kali, she handled the beast, which is probably handled the worries, and then did something to make sure that they didn't germinate. She caught them up. She scooped them up, because that fertile soil is being kept. It's not going to be able to receive that seed of negativity and bring forth a thing like itself. It's going to be caught and handled. So whatever we can do to bring that up. Now, perhaps in this scenario, this phone conversation with someone who's very, very worried, and they have fears that you didn't even think about. You don't want those fears to land on your fertile soil and create. So coming to that with a higher consciousness, with a Kali consciousness, where you recognize something that's not true, and you speak the truth. You speak the truth out loud, and in a way that the other person recognizes or doesn't. You could just say, well, I know that's not true about you. I know that you are very capable. I've seen you pull through some of the worst circumstances. You have never been homeless. You have whatever it is they're worried about, the biggest fear. You've never not risen to the occasion. I think of you as the most capable, blessed, talented person. And I feel as if good things are coming your way right now. What is it you want? You can start to ask them. This was a trick I used to use. Well, I heard all about what you don't want. What is it that you want to experience? And then watch how that energy changes as they start to decide and design the future that they would love to be in, the future that they would love to craft for themselves. Because the truth is, we are co-creators in this universe. We are not just recipients of someone else's ideas. They don't get to package up our future and hand it to us, and we get to unwrap it as if it's already predefined. It isn't. We sit in the silence of our homes, silence of ourselves, and we commune with the divine. We commune, and we know we are one with the divine. That's the first thing. All of the people, the wisdom teachers of all the traditions, will tell us to sit still. Be still and know that I am the divine. I am moving in and as you. We get to have this imagination where we can imagine ourselves. We can create a visual image in our minds that does not exist yet, and then plant that actual seed in our souls and have it bring forth in our lives. We've seen it happen. We do it every day. We do it unconsciously. Now, when we plant these seeds with our imagination, do we want those seeds to be fruits that we do desire? Or do we want them to be weeds that we don't desire? It is up to us. We get to choose. That is our freedom to choose. So we're looking at this whole analogy a whole different way. Yes, these stories of the gods with all their different characteristics, they exist for a reason. Whether you're a Christian or whether you're a Buddhist or whether you are a Hindu, there are I want to say avatars. There are collections of attributes. They're here for us. These are paradigms we can step into, and we can learn from them. We can embody them, and then we can actually resonate. In fact, there are some steps you can do. You can go into meditation as one would, and you can meditate on one of the divine avatars that you might choose. I'm trying to use different words for this so that nobody gets stuck in dogma, but come up with any divine collection of attributes, whether it's Durga or Kali or Shiva or Shakti, the whole Shakti of it all, whether it's individuals like Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad. Think about, meditate on those qualities and those attributes, and watch how that divine collection of human traits will start to show themselves in your lives, because that's what they're here for. These are structures that we can use to hold up in front of us. We always love symbology. We can hold these structures in front of us. Meditate on how alike we are, how this being lives within me, because the truth is, we are all one. So all I have to do is contemplate that being that represents something that I desire, focus my energy on that, leave that request right there, be grateful for that request, knowing that it's already coming to me, and then arise and watch how the universe just naturally magnetizes it, just brings it right here. That doesn't mean I don't get up and go do things, but it means that the things that I do are more carefully curated so that I can have the experience that I'm looking for. The fact that I'm looking for it creates that magnetic resonance, and then it is more likely to occur. So all I've said is the things I've been saying every time I sit down and talk with you guys. It's just that we are here. We're part of this divine energy that is feminine, masculine, together, working in each and every one of us and bringing forth that which we are interested in. So we take our minds and we point it to the direction in which we want it to go. And we just watch how the whole world transforms. And that's my time. So I would love to leave you with a small prayer. Let's see if there are any prayer requests. So let us go within and just anchor this knowingness. I am one with the divine. There's only one. That one is called by many names. It is the divine. It is God. It is Goddess. It is the universe. It is pure life itself. This energy moves in and through and as its entire creation, seen and unseen. So I speak my word right now that this divine energy has all of the positive attributes that we would want to emphasize and build in our lives, whether it be autonomy, whether it be wealth, abundance, whether it be friendships, love, companionship, ease, health, wholeness, freedom, whatever it is we're looking to experience, that energy and the fullness thereof is right here in this moment. It is not in the future. It is right here, right now. I invite you to step into it boldly, accept it, allow it. Ignore anything to the opposite of it for your ideas, my images. Attract likeness to it. And so I speak my word that we only keep our mind on that which we want to experience. We're interested in only the things we want to experience, because life gives us more and more and more of what we're interested in. And so I simply say, thank you, life. Thank you for unfolding right here, right now, in this moment. I release my word. I let it go. I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. And Aaron and Dan.
All righty, this is a song about compassion in action.
Woke up this morning, saw a world full of trouble now. How we ever get so far down? How's it ever going to turn around? So I turned my eyes to heaven. I thought, God, why don't you do something? Well, I just couldn't stand the thought of people living in poverty, children sold into slavery. The thought disgusted me, so I shook my fist at heaven. Said, God, why don't you do something?
God said I did. I created you. If not us, then who? If not me and you right now. It's time for us to do something. If not now, then when will we see an end to all this pain? It's not enough to do nothing. It's time for us to do something. We are the salt of the earth. We are a city on a hill. Shine, 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 shine. We're never gonna change the world by standing still. No, we won't stand still. Ooh, if not us, then who? If not me and you right now. It's time for us to do something. If not now, then when will we see an end to all this pain? It's not enough to do nothing. It's time for us to do something. It's time for us to do something. It's time for us to do something.
Woo! Love that. Thank you, Dan and Aaron. That's always one of my favorite songs. And thank you so much, Charlene, for the wonderful, inspiring message. So now is the time to CSL Leesburg. You heard in the video, we believe in the law of circulation. So we are a tithing community. The donations that are shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. So look at our screen. There are so many ways to give, and it's easy to find a way that works for you. Something tells me you already have a way that works. So, however you are giving, just take that, place it over your heart, and join me in the blessing of our gifts. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. So, a little bird told me before our service that we don't have any announcements today. Can you believe it? I think that's the universe telling us that after we do our closing and we do our little pearls where you share parts of the service that really resonated with you, then the universe just wants you to get out there and enjoy nature and enjoy the summertime, enjoy whatever you can outside. So let's do our closing affirmation. All right, put your hands over your heart once again. Maybe give yourself a little hug and join me in saying, I am love.
I am love.
Thank you, Charlene. And now think of someone or look at someone who's in the room with you and send them this message. You are love.
You are love.
You are love.
Oh, I love it. I heard messages coming from Massachusetts and also coming from Virginia. All right, now it's time to put your hands up in the air. Come on, might be able to hear California. Anybody else? Let's hear you. Turn on your mics. Join me with It's All Love.
It's all love.
It's all love.
You know what charge I get to know? You know, we don't get to see each other in person, but through Zoom, look at how we just span the continent with these messages of love. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Like I said, please stay and hang out if you can. And if not, we send you off with our blessings and love. And it's a wrap.
Okay, we stop streaming.